Hello everybody, how you doing? It's Damon yet again, and in this video today, we're gonna talk about basically SummerSlam 2016, 2013, sorry. Basically 2013. Lots of things happened during that year. I remember basically at the time I had a summer job, in which case there's some music, some songs that basically I think from Pharrell Williams. I don't remember this. There's a song. It was all over uh, all over the radio basically back then. It's like, man, it's like that's a song that aged badly even that time. But it's like to me, I think it was Blurred Line. Blurred Lines was all over the place, and boy, I was tired of it. Like it was the Gangnam style of 2013, except with wrong, even with worse implication, knowing the crimes of Robin Thicke. But the point is, boy, was it! I was tired of hearing that song. Like basically after the first time, imagine the 10,000 other times. So that's one thing I remember in music. But in terms of movies, there was a lot of variety in that summer. I mean, there were Monster Inc. and Monsters University, which was fun, wasn't as good as, let's say, Toy Story 3, Inside Out, but was something in the middle. It wasn't as disappointing as Cars 2, so there was that. Star Trek Into Darkness, to me, exposed J.J. Abrams to everybody who didn't believe me that the guy knows only how to start something, and the guy knows it, which is why basically he makes sure to never follow through to anything he does. Force Awakens, tried to, fell miserably. Lost, tried to, fell miserably. And Super 8, it was a one-off movie. Cloverfield didn't bother to do a sequel. So sorry, Jason Solomon, Monster. That's the reason when you have Cloverfield 2 is because J.J. Abrams sucks the big one. And Rise of Skywalker. Do I need to say more? I mean, this was basically if let's do the Wrath of Khan. We're doing Wrath of Khan. Everybody knew that John Arrington, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, would have been Khan. But I thought rather than basically create a new villain, no, let's go back to Khan and let's lazy enough do the same twist of one of the two main leads sacrificed their lives for the other one, except in this case was Captain Kirk and was undone by the end of the movie. So that was very lazy. So there was this. What other movie there was? Iron Man 3, which I liked. Wasn't as bad to me as Iron Man 2, but I liked Iron Man 3. Pain and Gain. Boy, I liked that movie. That was, I think, one of the best Michael Bay movie ever, and he underdid it. Basically, he basically made he restrained himself greatly because there was no explosion in this. There was the Wolverine. Everybody's talking about Logan, but nobody mentioned enough how Wolverine is underrated. I mean, it basically elevated Wolverine from that god-awful movie X-Men Origins Wolverine. And while there's some aspects that weren't great, I'm not gonna say it's a great movie, but it's a pretty good kick-ass movie. I mean, were many characters there, and it's like basically Logan basically has to deal with the fact that he's no longer X-Men and basically he's haunted by Jean Grey. Things like that. I really enjoyed that movie. Man of Steel. Man of Steel was pretty damn good. And yeah, I'm tired of hearing people like try to deny how good it was or it wasn't that successful. Man, before inflation, it still kicked Superman 2025's box office's ass. Now, in terms of quality, I think I just slightly prefer Man of Steel over Superman 2025. But it's like, let's not deny that it was a success. It wasn't a great success, but it was a modest, good success. And snapping Zod's neck, I find it funny. Like, didn't Superman Christopher Reeves kill Zod in Superman 2? Nobody bats an eye, but Zack Snyder does it and everybody's on him. Just say you hate Zack Snyder without saying you hate Zack Snyder. And I'm not a lover of this guy because it's like some movies really, basically, are really shit, but that ain't one of them. But like Sucker Punch, hate on it as much as you want. Rebel Moon, hate on it as much as possible. Batman vs Superman, I just say it's got a couple of good moments, but that's it. But I will never say, hey, you know what? Uh, I would never say that Man of Steel was badly done. It was very well done, very well made, but it also shows that basically Christopher Nolan was the executive producer because there was a lot of restraints too. And I really enjoyed Henry Cavill as Superman. Russell Crowe as Kal-El really made a lot of sense. And Michael Shannon actually, to me, surpassed the late great Terrence Stamp as Zod as I will find him. It's both equally terrifying and kind of hilarious in the wrong context. There was also Pacific Rim, which was a damn good movie. It's like Guillermo del Toro basically took Transformers and outdid Transformers. I mean, Elba, Charlie Hunnam are part of the staff, as well as Charlie Day. And sad that basically and Bern Gorman, I think Gorman, he was in Dark Knight Rises. It's a shame that without him at the helm in the second one, everything was undone. It was a crap movie. Red 2 was disappointing knowing that Red 1 was fun. World War Z was really disappointing. Despicable Me 2 is this usual Despicable Me. Great Gatsby was as good as it could have been for musical theatrical book movie, but I thought some aspects were so glossed over, embellished when they didn't need to be. And I'm looking at the other base scale of this. Oblivion was a fun movie. And I'm looking at other movies. Oh yeah, there was This Is the End. This is the End with Seth Rogen, Jonah Hill, basically Jay Baruchel, Montreal Zone. That was damn good. It was hilarious. Danny McBride was hilarious in this one. So I miss those kind of comedies that poke fun at everybody there. It's like we need those kind of movies more. The Machete Kills was in September, sorry. World's End, the final chapter, the trilogy of the Cornetto trilogy, damn good. Was the weakest of the bunch, but honestly, the weakest of the bunch is saying it's the least good. Conjuring started there, it was good. Kick-Ass 2 was damn good. World War Z was kind of boring, and yet Elysium, which is underrated from the same director as Neil something of not Neil Breen, though I would love to see Neil Breen there. I would love to see Neil Breen tackle the Odyssey just for my personal enjoyment, for my personal laughter. Or how about the Tommy Wiseau and Neil Breen collaboration? But anyway, Elysium was very good. It's like Matt Damon with Jodie Foster, and I thought it was a good, solid movie, but didn't reach the height of District 9. That's in terms of movies. And I don't know, in the same year, basically Breaking Bad as last season, and we all know how great it was. I don't need to say more. But now we talk about wrestling. What happened in wrestling? Well, TNH. Well, you know what? Labs fan covered TNA, and TNH much better than I could. So I'll leave that to them. In WWE, John Cena was WWE champion, and I had no problem with him winning at WrestleMania 29 because kind of had to. I'm just basically think that the World Heavyweight title could have basically gone to Ryback, could have gone undefeated. Basically, heck, you could have basically had Ryback defending a triple threat match against Alberto Del Rio and against Dolph Ziggler, who cashes in and pins Del Rio because screw Del Rio. So I felt that's the way you get out of this because it's like you kind of didn't bury Ryback, but didn't take him the heights you could have taken him. So there's a lot of things that were going great that would keep the same way. Kane versus Bray Wyatt. The tag titles were not defended at the SummerSlam edition. US title was undefended. IC title was undefended. Divas title was undefended. Only 2 titles were defended on that card. That's inexcusable when you had 6. You had WWE World, IC, US, Divas tag. It's not the end of the world to defend one. It's one thing when you have AEW level of titles, but when you have 6, it's inexcusable that you don't defend them just about every pay-per-view. And that show, I was struggling to find out what I could use as a pre-show match. I couldn't find any. Honestly, honestly, I couldn't find anything. But there was a lot of match that would keep the same, or basically, I would do the same. I would start off the night for the tag team titles with the Shield defending against primetime players, which is the Usos, with a nice match with the Shield at Money in the Bank 2013 versus Swagger and Cesaro. I will basically you don't need to make it elimination rules. You can have the Usos get pinned via spear and the double team powerbomb by Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. For the United States title, I would make sure that after the match, you could have the Usos brought the back with the Shield. So basically, the Shield's indisposed now. For the US title, Dean Ambrose defends against Christian, and I would have at least had Christian win the United States title on that card because I thought, hey, he's coming back. He just came back a month ago. Why not continue the hot streak of this? And I think it was basically part of the winning team that the Uso, I think it was Christian, Daniel Bryan, and Kane were the first one to ever defeat the Shield, and I would keep it going with Christian winning the United States title over Dean Ambrose. Then you would have the what was basically qualified Inferno match with Kane versus Bray Wyatt. I would have Kane lose again. So yeah. Then you have Cody Rhodes continue his face turn by shaving off his mustache and facing off against Damien Sandow. I would have Sandow win. Why not? Like give him a little bit of boost because the moment he won Money in the Bank, he kept losing. So why not have Damien Sandow win under basically using nefarious means, but Cody Rhodes get his heat and does the crosshold after the match. Then for the fifth match of the night for the World Heavyweight title, as much as I never really thought was great. I would have Ziggler keep on the World Heavyweight title to defend against Alberto Del Rio and Rob Van Dam. And in a triple threat match, basically an inverted accidental shot from Big E to Dolph Ziggler. I don't know with knockout Ziggler. Basically, Del Rio basically does his kneeling super kick on Big E. RVD does his reverse wheelbarrow wheel kick. Does his 5-star and win the World Heavyweight title, the one title he missed beside the U.S. title. So I would have RVD get a 1 or 2 month reign as U.S. World Heavyweight champion. Then for Divas title, you have AJ Lee defending Caitlyn. After AJ Lee retaining 6-7 minutes of good action that time to keep her Divas title. Then, like in real life, you have CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar, and I'm tempted to have a CM Punk win. But if Brock has to be kept as a monster, what do you do? So especially if CM Punk's not challenged for the title anytime soon, I'd have CM Punk be on the verge of winning when another Paul Heyman guy shows up, costs CM Punk, and basically Brock Lesnar does a third F5 to win the match in like the same amount of time than reality. Then I would have Ryback face Chris Jericho. I would have Ryback face off against Chris Jericho because I felt like, you know what? I would have Ryback stay as a tweener, but not as heel, and he ends up beating Chris Jericho, who was taking a leave of absence anyway. But I have not a real, actually, I have a dominant victory. Like 6-7 minutes is all you need for Jericho to lose cleanly to Ryback. Then for the Intercontinental title, Curtis Axel defends Miz. Curtis Axel did nothing with the IC title, and honestly, his reign might actually be one of the worst. The only thing that was good and passionate the first one was because he won the same title that his dad won, and they became the first ever at that time, father-son combo to ever win the same title, which is the Intercontinental title, which now has been eclipsed by Rey and Dominic Mysterio, who both won the IC title. Now we have Miz win at that time another IC title. I think at this point would have been I'm just counting, would have been his third one. Why not? Miz basically was turned face for like in 2013, 2019, 2024, and every time he barely gets important victories. At least he won 2024, the tag team titles, but that's the thing why Miz doesn't cut as a face, because you never give him some important wins. I mean, you should have at least, if he's not going to win the U.S. title, he should have gotten at least a semi-good reign as IC champion then. And that's what I would do there. If afterwards Big E has to win the title, Big E can win the IC title as a heel. Why not? Then, we're into the penultimate match. You have, just want to be sure that I'm making a mistake. You have the penultimate match. Randy Orton takes on Mark Henry. Why Mark Henry? Because he's in the Hall of Fame, Mark Henry. And you have Mark Henry basically, after 1 month after nearly winning the WWE title over John Cena, basically sees that Randy Orton, the new Money in the Bank briefcase holder, basically offers an open challenge for SummerSlam. He goes on this way, and I'll have Mark Henry basically remind Orton that the last time they faced off on pay-per-view, the last 2 times they faced, Henry won. Orton never pinned him basically in a single one-on-one match to win the feud, and this is why I do that match, because I want Randy Orton to win over Mark Henry when Mark Henry goes on the top second rope to do like a Vader bomb, but Orton, unbeknownst to the ref, does a low blow. Then while Mark Henry is a straddle in the second rope, Randy Orton delivers an RKO with Mark Henry sitting across the second row, the turnbuckle, top turnbuckle. He does an RKO with Mark Henry sitting across the turnbuckle, and he does a 1, 2, 3. So Randy Orton established himself not only as a Money in the Bank match winner, but also as a top contender without the briefcase, running the briefcase. And in the main event, you have WWE title, John Cena defending against Daniel Bryan with Triple H as the referee. And I will keep it the same way. Daniel Bryan wins with a Busaiku knee. Triple H does a pedigree. The only thing I would change, because I thought it was kind of lazy in there, is Orton did nothing, just pinned him. I would have Triple H deliver the pedigree. Orton comes in the ring, 1, 2, kick out. Then RKO, then 1, 2, 3. Just a mirror, basically reminiscent of Mankind's Triple H at King of the Ring 1997. When you thought it was done, no. Then one more finisher and that's it. Not 7, one more. So that's how I would have booked SummerSlam 2013. Let me know what you think. Comments down below. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.